guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me. If you're new, welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below as well as the little bell so you get a notification every time I post a new video. So today's video is just going to be tips and advice for those of you out there that are watching that are interested in joining the Air Force. This question was posed to me by a follower of mine, and I'm going to come at this from a nursing perspective since I did join as a nurse. But this hopefully will be helpful to anyone out there that has a degree that's wanting to come in to the Air Force as an officer. So it would just be a look at the application process and just kind of how to sell yourself as far as tips and tricks and advice for the Air Force Nurse Corps. So you don't necessarily have to be a nurse because, like I said, when I went through officer training, there were nurses, doctors, social workers, tons of other professions. So just because I'm speaking from a nursing perspective does not categorize this as only in the nursing bubble. So hopefully anyone watching that has an interest in joining the Air Force that already has a degree, you'll go through officer training. So hopefully these tips will help you to be successful with your application before it goes before the board. So like I said, this video is just going to be tips, tricks, and my advice for your application if you're interested in joining the Air Force. So if you guys are interested, then please keep watching. Okay guys, so my advice number one, first and foremost, is yourself, your own personal self. Make sure you give this a lot of time, a lot of thought, and a lot of prayer. Make sure this is a direction that you want to go because it will be very life-changing for you, your family, everyone that's involved. So my advice number one is to make sure that you and your family, those that you love, those that you have brought along in this decision making, are fully aware of the sacrifices that will need to be made for this decision, that everyone is on board, that you have a strong support system. So number one is yourself. Make sure that you're fully prepared for the things that you have to do, that you're mentally, physically, financially, emotionally, every area that you're going to be prepared. So number one is yourself. Give it enough thought. Don't rush into a decision. So number one, make sure you are personally prepared. Number two, if you have already made it past number one, you know you're prepared, you know this is what you want to do, then start working on yourself. So your application is going to go before a board, and as you are working with your recruiter, you're giving him or her everything that you need. Your application will go before a board once it's complete. This is a board of people that you would never meet a day in your life. They will not meet you face to face. They are only going off of everything that is written in your packet, everything that is handed out in front of them. They are basically forming a mental image of you off of everything that they see before them. So your resume, your letters of recommendation, the feedback from the 2 interviews that you will have had, everything is based off of your packet. So number two, make sure that you are prepared to sell yourself. So this is where I'm going to jump into how to be prepared. So how do you want to sell yourself? How do you want to be prepared? Your resume. If you're coming straight out of school, then maybe your resume is not going to be, very lengthy. Maybe it's not going to have like a lot of past jobs that you may have worked. Maybe it's not going to have like a lot of awards or a lot of things that you have done if you're a new grad coming straight out of school. But anything that you do in school, any organization, any award, any extracurricular activity, any type of community service, put that all on your resume. This is not the time for you to follow the resume tips and tricks that you've learned growing up where you have to limit your resume to 1 page. No. My resume, I think, literally was on like 4 pages because they're going to look at everything. Like, they want to know who you are and everything about you. And like I said, they're never going to meet you face to face. So this is the time to really sell yourself. So speaking personally, and you guys will see me jump back and forth between like what I recommend and then my personal experience. So personally, because I didn't apply to the Air Force as a new grad, when I was completing my resume, of course I had all of my education, then I had my past background history at the Mayo Clinic, and then I had like every award that I had ever earned. Like I threw it back, guys. Like I went back to high school. Like I went through every community service project I had ever done that I was a part of and that I actually coordinated on my own. So community Christmas events that I helped organize personally myself, articles that I had written, awards that I had won, everything. I had on there my community service events where when I was in school and I went to South Africa and all the community events that I did there as a nursing student, like everything to upsell myself. That's what you have to do in your resume. You're really upselling yourself. That is all you're doing. So that's pretty much how you have to do your resume in a nutshell. And when it comes to your work experience, you really want to take your experience and literally like break it down. So for myself, like I talked about that I worked at Mayo Clinic, but then I also broke it down and I talked about the patient population that I cared for, my specific roles and responsibilities as a nurse. Like every patient encounter that I could remember, like I talked about that in a nutshell. Like I cared for hemodynamically unstable patients on CRRT. I floated, like everything that I ever did at the Mayo Clinic, I talked about that in my work experience. That's why I said it came out to be like 4 pages, because I literally was selling myself. I was like, this is the one time that I would probably use, this is like the one time that I would probably talk about myself to the extreme, so I went for it. So that's definitely what you guys have to do. So along with your packet, you're going to also have your interviews. So I had an interview with a colonel, and then I had an interview, and a phone interview as well. So with your interviews, you definitely want to take that just like you would take a regular job interview. You want to take it serious. My advice to you, do research just like you would do research on a hospital or whatever job that you're applying for. Do your research. Make sure you know a little bit of Air Force history, the Air Force creed, the Air Force song, how you yourself would fit into the Air Force mission, what the Air Force mission is, what the Air Force core values are, things of that nature, because you never know what you're going to be asked. Go in there very professional, very well-mannered, look the part. And like I said, once again, sell yourself, because they're going to have that resume in front of you. They're going to have that resume in front of them. They're going to look at it. They're going to maybe have stuff highlighted that maybe they want to bring up, or maybe they want to ask you further questions about. So once again, personally, on my resume, I had written 3 articles. And I have written 3 articles before. They're published on an online nursing journal. So I remember when I had my interview, the colonel had written little notes off to the side of my resume, just like, I guess to further remind him, hey, I want to ask her about this. And I talked about this before in one of my videos. Not only did he ask me about these articles, he turns around to his computer and pulls these articles up on his computer. So make sure everything that you put on your resume, you can back up, because that is not the time to be a liar. You want to sell yourself, but you don't want to be a liar. So at that moment, if I had been lying, I would have been caught. And trust me, that would have been a no right there, because he would have been like, you're trying to get in the Air Force, you just lied on your resume, and I'm a colonel, and you're lying to me in my face. Get the frick out. So, like I said, everything that you put on your resume to sell yourself, let it be truthful. And then be prepared to back that up as well. So yeah, I always bring that up because it's so funny. Because I'm like, did you just try to play me? Like, I know you're a colonel and I'm not even in, but did old boy try to play me? Anyways, I just think it's funny. So yeah, always be prepared. Always be prepared. Alright guys, I just want to throw out a quick disclaimer. I'm kind of battling like some upper respiratory sinus type things if I sound super stuffy. And then my dog's also in the background. If you guys hear like this weird noise, he's doing his own thing. So anyways, so that's the same thing with both of your interviews. I know personally I had the 2 interviews. I had the face-to-face one, and then I had the one over the phone. Over the phone is definitely more relaxed, but it was more scenario based. So Like I said, once again, speaking from a nursing perspective, she gave me an actual like patient scenario, and then I think our phone call lasted for like an hour because we had the general chit chat, and then the patient scenario, and then how I would manage the patient throughout my time on the unit based on how the patient was presenting over time via the phone call. So just they present like this over time. This starts happening, this starts happening, this starts happening, this starts happening, and then how would I handle each scenario? So that's basically how that unfolded. All right. So some more advice that I have for you as far as how to be prepared. If you are a nursing student and you're interested in joining the Air Force as a nurse, as a social worker, whatever the case may be after you graduate, of course, do your best in college. Try to get the best grades that you can. Have a competitive GPA. So anything from a 3.2 or higher, and I say 3.2 just to throw that number out there, because I know people will start like, oh my God, she said a 3.5, I don't have a 3.5. No, I'm not saying that it has to be at a certain level. I'm just saying you want to be competitive, and there's no specific number that I have heard of. I'm just saying you want to make yourself competitive. They do look at you holistically as a person, as a whole, not just as a number. So I just said 3.2 just to throw that out there. Try to involve yourself in as many organizations as possible in whatever school that you're going to, whatever major that you have. Within those organizations, try to take as many leadership roles as you can, because the Air Force is all about leadership. And then as you being an office, as you come in as an officer, they'll expect you, of course, to be a leader. So as far as myself, I was in SNA, and then SNA SC, which is just the state version of SNA. So I'm from South Carolina, so it's SNA SC for South Carolina. And then in that organization, I was the community health director. So I've done a lot of things as far as from that aspect. Definitely try to take as many leadership opportunities as you can. Now, when it comes to your letters of recommendation, I would say at least have 2 or more. I believe I had 4 or 5, if I remember correctly. These want to be people who can vouch for you, your credibility, your work ethic, your student ethic, if you've never worked before, your leadership roles, your character, your integrity, everything about you. This does not want to be Mama Joe from down the street at the corner store that you gave $1 to, or you give $1 to every time you see them. That's not who you want to give you a letter of recommendation for the United States Air Force. This needs to be your dean, your professor, your teacher from high school who taught you chemistry, and you guys are constantly in communication and they wrote you a letter of recommendation for college. This needs to be your worship leader at church, like somebody who can vouch for you. Somebody who can vouch for you. Like, I can't say that enough. This has to be someone that you work with, a supervisor, a coworker, just anybody that can vouch for your character. Like, personally for myself, I had a couple coworkers, I had a couple family friends that are nurses, that have been nurses for years, like well before I was even born, that I've known for years that can vouch for me. So it has to be someone who, if called upon, can say yes without a shadow of a doubt. I trust this person. This person can go off into the Air Force and do wonderful things. This person, I would trust them with my life, kind of thing. So your letters of recommendation really need to speak volumes. So definitely start thinking about who you would want for that. So like I said, 2 or more is great. I don't know if there's a max limit on how many you can have. Of course, the more the better. I said, I believe I had like 4 or 5. Okay, so speaking for my viewers out there that are watching that are in my similar situation, that have experience in the workforce and now they want to join. To kind of help you guys out as far as how to sell yourself, if you're in the workforce, try to do things that are going to help your resume stand out as well. Like I said, look for those leadership opportunities. Maybe stay after or come in extra, or maybe teach an extra class here and there, or just anything that you can do that would kind of upsell yourself in the long run. Try to get as much experience as you can. And I've touched on this before, speaking from the nursing aspect. If you do not have any nursing experience and you are accepted into the Air Force, you will go through nurse transition program. I did not have to do that because I had over a year of experience in the ICU. So over a year of experience allowed me to qualify for the specialty code 46N3E. So that's why I was able to come in and hold on to my specialty of critical care. So that's why I was able to go straight from working. I joined, I went to COT or OTS, whatever you want to call it, and now I'm back in the ICU. So I didn't have to go through nurse transition program. So if you know that there's a specialty in the Air Force that you want, as a new grad, try to get a job in that area first and get that experience first if you can. And try to get over a year of experience in that area first, and then you could come in and then you could get that specialty. Of course, seeing as if it's offered in the Air Force, which most of the time it is. So, like I said, guys, this is just a short how to sell yourself, how to be prepared, my tips, my advice, kind of just basing it off of my experience and my journey thus far that has got me here today. Like I said, this question was posed to me by a follower, and I've actually had a lot of people ask me this. So when she was like, hey, can you make a video on this? I was like, yeah, sure, because I've had a lot of people ask me this. So like I said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video so far. Leave me your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Reach out to me on social media, which is where I am the most active. DM me on Instagram, or you can message me on Snapchat as well. Your support has been greatly, greatly appreciated. I love you guys all so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.